Hello, Chatling. Which psychological frameworks would I crack? I don't know why it looks so greasy right now. I literally washed my hair yesterday and for some reason it looks like a rat's nest. What? What's going on? This is going to be extremely rushed because I have a birthday dinner in 20 minutes and I have not yet started to get ready. So, I will be referencing this Psychology for Dummies book that I recently checked out from the library. So, starting off, we have the biological framework. This one is super respectable. Like, don't get me wrong, I somewhat enjoy learning about the physiological processes, the actual anatomical structure of the brain, how those things impact our behavior, but to me, I can't lie, it's kind of boring. The biological framework, yes, it's crucial, but to me it comes across as just bullshit memorization. It's boring to me, so I'm gonna pass. I would not crack the biological framework. I'm sorry. To all the biological framework enjoyers, I'm actually not sorry. Next up we have behaviorism. I love behaviorism. This might be my favorite. Hold on. Is this my favorite? I think it's between cognitive and behaviorism. I don't know. Behaviorism emphasizes the role and influence of a person's environment and previous learning experiences to understanding behavior. So it's basically like looking at circumstances, looking at the cause and effect, looking at what's going on, basically what you can observe. Because it's so hard to actually quantitatively analyze what's going on in your brain with the biological framework. So behaviorism takes that and says, okay, what can we see? What can we see to the naked eye? What behaviors can we analyze? Which I really like. I also find it more interesting than the biological framework. I'm cracking. All day, every day, on the couch, on the counter, on the floor, anywhere really. Next up we have the cognitive framework. Oh boy, we have two heaters in a row. I am a sucker for the cognitive framework, you have no idea. The cognitive framework centers on the mental processing of information, including the specific functions of attention, concentration, reasoning, problem solving, and memory. I love this shit, like genuinely. I also like how, similar to behaviorism, it's very, I don't know what the word is, pragmatic? Like, it's very easily identifiable by yourself. You can look at yourself, you can look at your own behavior and apply these frameworks. Behaviorism, you can look at how you interact with your surroundings, what things affect you, what things trigger you, and the cognitive framework, you can monitor your own behavior when it comes to what things did it list. Attention, concentration, reasoning, problem solving, and memory, and you can see how those things impact your thinking and your actions and your decisions. I just find it really interesting, really pragmatic, and it just makes a lot of sense to me. It's very intuitive to me, which is why I love these two frameworks, and I will be cracking the cognitive framework. This excerpt I absolutely loved. I was giggling and kicking my feet when I read it. Whenever someone tells you to look on the bright side, they're coming from a cognitive perspective. When something bad happens, most people feel better if the problem gets solved or if the issue is resolved. But how should you feel if nothing changes? If circumstances don't change, do you have to feel bad forever? Of course not. In most cases, people can change the way they think about a situation. You can choose to look on the bright side, or at least not solely look at the downside. That's the gist of cognitive therapy. I love this shit. To me, it really is adjacent to cognitive distortion. Wait. They both have the word cognitive. Okay, yep, that makes sense. I was gonna say, it's very adjacent to cognitive distortions, like, I don't know, generalizations, like extreme pessimism, those types of things, which I love studying. Holy tangent, we're smashing cognitive framework. Next up we have sociocultural. This one's interesting. Like, culture does have a huge part to play in someone's thinking and their behavior, but it's just not interesting to me. Again, my autism picked behaviorism and the cognitive framework to focus on. Don't ask me why. Maybe because it's very intuitive to me. I'm gonna pass on the sociocultural. Again, it's very crucial. I prefer a mix of biological, behaviorism, cognitive, and sociocultural. I like to dip my toes in everywhere. But the specific sociocultural framework, it's just not super interesting to me, so I'm gonna pass. Next up we have Next up we have developmental. I don't like developmental. I'm sorry, bro. Like, Back when I took AP psychology, the whole developmental unit was just so boring. I get it. It's very crucial. It's very informative. It's very eye-opening, but it's so boring. Like, I don't want to learn about aging. I don't want to learn about how my brain changes as I age. I'm not there anymore. Like, I was a baby once. Now I'm not. I don't really care about what was going on back then. Although I suppose it's interesting because what happens when you're young can very much impact how you think when you're older. So I'm kind of watering it down, which is unfair to the developmental framework. I'm still gonna choose not to crack. Next up, we have the evolutionary framework. I do like the evolutionary framework. I also find this one to be quite intuitive, but it's not quite as interesting as cognitive and behaviors, and so do I smash? Evolutionary psychology searches for the causes and explanations for mental processes and behavior through the lens of adaptive fitness and natural selection. So basically what you would expect. One example of this that I'm quite fond of is the reason why we are so afraid of social rejection today. Some people have rejection sensitivity disorder. Most people just really, really dislike feeling social rejection, asking out your crush and receiving a no, saying something awkward and then the whole group going silent. That feels horrible, feels crushing. And one evolutionary explanation for that is that in the past, when we were like Neanderthals, if you were rejected socially, you are getting rejected from a group of other beings that would have helped you to stay safe. Isolation is danger, literally speaking, in those times. Now, if you face rejection, you're not in danger. You're not losing your tribe, and you're not having to then fend for yourself in the wilderness all alone. It's not an actual danger. But because of that evolutionary advantage of avoiding social rejection, we now have to deal with these dumbass consequences where, let's say we apply for a job and we get rejected. That feels bad. Or, what's another example? Social rejection. If we send a text in a group chat and nobody responds, I hate that feeling. Another example, we don't like social rejection, and I love how that's explained by the evolutionary framework, but I'm gonna pass because I'm gonna have standards for myself, and this isn't quite as interesting as the others. Next up, we have humanistic and existential. This one is wholesome, but I don't love it. It's not super intuitive. It's not like, oh yes, this is very helpful. I can see how this connects to this, blah, 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 blah. The humanistic and existential meta-theory emphasizes that each person is unique and that humans have the ability and responsibility to make choices in their lives. To me, again, I don't know a ton about this framework, but it sounds more like philosophy to me than it does concrete science. I know of all the frameworks I've listed so far, yeah, they strive to be as objective as possible. They strive to conduct studies, collect real evidence. Whereas this, from first glance, again, I'm not pretending to know about the humanistic and existential framework. All right, let's get one thing clear. I do not know anything about it. However, to me, upon reading this little summary, it seems like it's more philosophical and less based on concrete data. And for that reason, pardon me if I'm wrong, but for that reason, I'm going to pass. Next up, we have psychoanalytic, psychodynamic. I can't help but giggle anytime Freud is brought up. I don't even care what the topic is. All I can think about is penis envy. Penis envy and then also being attracted to his mom. Like, come on, bro. How could you sit there and listen to any of Freud's teachings and not be giggling because at one point he dropped the absolute heater that is penis envy? Like, and then the fact that the whole, like, obsessed mom thing, it's too silly. I'm gonna pass just because I don't really like any of Freud's ideas. From what I have understood, they seem to me less grounded in actual real evidence and more like, this could be true. I want to make this theory with like very little evidence that could maybe apply to the brain, but I don't have any proof of it. Also, penis envy. I'm gonna pass. Sorry, Freud fans, I'm sorry. Next up, we have the feminist framework, which I didn't even know was a thing, but I do find it really interesting. And I love learning about feminism and how gender roles impact the experience of an individual. I genuinely love learning about that. I didn't even know that this was a framework in psychology, but now that I do know, I will be smashing. Because again, I find it very interesting. There's something in my eye. Okay. And lastly, we have postmodernism, which I don't even understand. I swear to God, I read the summary twice, and I was left with as much knowledge as I started with. I didn't understand the word, so I'm gonna pass because I literally don't understand it. I'm gonna read it to you, listen. The postmodern meta-theory questions the very core of psychological science, challenging its approach to truth and its focus on the individual. Postmodernists propose, for example, that in order to understand human thinking and reason, we need to look at the social and communal processes involved in thinking and reason. Like, what the fuck are we talking about, bro? Again, no shade. I'm sure postmodernism is awesome, but I don't understand it. That's a me problem, so I'm just gonna pass, alright? Thank you for joining me for this wonderful autistic video. Make sure to be kind to yourself and take care of yourself and follow my Twitch. Okay? I have 8 minutes to get ready. Wish me luck. Bye, twin. Mwah.